Oh, it's back. Sorry, Twitch just gave me an error. Error 1000, I think it said. I'll get back to Trainz shortly. I will need to... One second, I'll just need to reload the thing. 1 second. I'll have to look up what that error is referencing, because, well, I don't know what's caused it. It's never happened before. Okay, so I should have it ready. Okay. Now let's see if this works. I'm going to test it this time. So I've clicked over to TRS-19, and does it switch? Yes, it switches. It worked. That is really strange. I wonder if the two are connected. By the way, so sorry that the stream cut out. Yeah, Twitch gave me an error. Anyway, I'll just continue as usual, I guess. So thank you for sticking around for that, for those technical difficulties. But we're back now. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Otherwise I'll need to do some research on the fly and hopefully get the stream back up before, before everybody leaves. So, how does that road look? Well, it's very steep around the corner, the curve. So I think I will make this a bit more level over here, and then make the slope go up further back here instead. So kind of like this. And I will actually realign the terrain height to this, because the road doesn't tilt with the terrain. So in parts it's floating. So so like here, you see a little black strip? That's the shadow from it floating. Because for some reason the road's shadows do work, even though the trees' shadows still don't. Okay, so yeah, just need to quickly put this little thing up here. Maybe add another spline point in here. Yeah, that looks better. And then we'll have a little parking lot here, a little dirt thing, and down there as well. But I just wanted to put this in place, just so that in case I come across any buildings that would fit down here, I'd already have the thing in place to put them at. And yes, I do need to put make this come around here still, but I'll do that when I put in the little parking lot down here, or the turnaround place. So, right, what was I doing before? Shops, right. I want to search for shop. There are quite a lot, so I'll try to go through them as quickly as I can without missing any. Barbershop. No. And we don't need many shops here, because I just want to basically put some more maybe down to here, to this road coming across, and also maybe a few more over here. But we don't really need many more shops for this size of town. No, these aren't the right one. Brick shop. Okay. I'm still thinking about what happened before, because I'm sure that I did press on the right screen. Maybe it does have something to do with the error. Oh, hello, we've just gained one viewer back. Hello, in case you're one of the people who were here earlier. I was having some technical issues with OBS/Twitch. I actually got an error 1000. Error number 1000. I have no idea what it means. Never got it before. I'll do some research when the stream's over. But thanks for coming back. Or if you're a new viewer, welcome to the stream. We've had some technical issues in the past few minutes, as I'm sure you know from the fact that I just told you. Either way, I put in this little dirt track, snaking its way down the hillside and over to this marina. I'll put in this final curve here when I put in the little parking lot down here. And we will also put in some boats here, like some sailing boats and something like some objects like that. Yeah, it always looks a bit strange when you look underneath the water from outside the baseboard, because normally if you put the camera underwater, it's tinted blue, but here it isn't, because the camera is technically not under any water. You can just see the cross-section. Okay. And I'm seeing that it's already quite dark, so I'll turn on the light. Even though outside it's still quite bright. The sky is still this blue-purple color, it's kind of a mixture. It's really beautiful. I mean, I can't really turn the webcam since it's the built-in one, but it's really beautiful, yes. Well, the street lights are coming on already, so I guess I can turn mine on as well. Not my street light, but my normal light. There we go. Okay, now, yeah, I'm not sure how much this will, how many objects I'll find doing this, because if you search for shop, it will find more British assets, because shop is more of a British term. Saying that, this doesn't really look British. Doesn't really look British. That's what I wanted to say. Although maybe I'll place it. This is, by the way, that's a very old asset. It's, I think maybe from Trainz 2004 or something like that. Maybe I could place that down here as well, just so that when people come down here, they're on vacation, they're going over to the hotel, then maybe they'll hop over here and buy a record or something like that. Or a guitar, as the case might be, maybe. Let's see. Small shops? No. The toy shop. Yeah, why not? Although I think I'll place this one maybe more over here. Actually, maybe it would fit quite well sort of in this place, so that you have kind of this little area in front. Because this, I don't really have a corner building for this. And I do need to move it up because I've put the terrain down again. So something like that. And that's also another thing I've noticed. Usually when I look over in the users in chat view on Twitch, it says streamer Sharadice, because I'm logged in as Sharadice, but it doesn't do that at the moment. The list's just completely blank. Tell you what, I'll reload this page. It won't affect the stream, just to see if that maybe fixes it. Yes, now it says broadcaster Sharadice. That is really strange. Anyway, here we go. And I am not going to look through all of these, just a few of them. No. Workshop. Not really what I'm looking for. Corner shop, maybe? No, the resolution's too poor for this to be this close up. because an important thing to keep in mind when you're making a route is that the objects that are closer to the tracks should have a higher resolution texture or a higher quality model, just because the player will see them in more detail. For example, this shop, if you're this close to it, from a model, from a texture point of view, it's okay. It's actually quite good. But from a model point of view, it's just a box with a little indentation for the roof, and this little sign coming out. So if it's meant to be seen from this close, then I wouldn't place it there. But if it's meant to be seen from, say, this far away, then it's really quite good. Also, is it me, or does this green shape here look a bit like Thunderbird 2? If you've seen Thunderbirds. And by the way, when I'm referring to Thunderbirds, I'm referring to the original puppet series. Yes, not the CGI one, because the CGI one really doesn't have the same, charisma as the original, the same magic, as it were. But yes, I think I'll place this one. Just sort of, snap back. Just sort of around here, maybe. Also, I will need to put this one down. I didn't do that last time, I didn't notice. But it was floating a little. Okay. No commercial buildings. No. And sometimes they do group the same user. If the same user uploads a whole bunch of assets like this, then they are grouped together. So for example, this one, there's this very large group of DS shops. And you can see just from a few samples that they're European assets. No. EMT, no. Also European assets. Fast food shop, no. Even though it does look realistic, no. Doesn't really fit in this area. No, we already have a violin store. We don't really need another instrument shop. Okay, I'm just going to look through a few more of these, and then I'm going to go over placing some of the residential buildings. Maybe this one. Actually, we could maybe place this one sort of around here, perhaps. So, because I'm thinking that maybe over in this area where the yard is sort of at, we could maybe have some warehouses or things like that. So this could maybe look good as a sort of transition object. So let's see. Actually, I'm not going to move it down. I'm just going to flatten the terrain beneath it. Now, I did place this one here because I did want to use it somewhere. Not really sure where we should put it though. Well, if this is the through road, well, let's see, because the road does come in or go out up here, up the mountain, and then it goes somewhere through the town and then carries on this way, along this way. So what would the most sorry. What would the most popular route be for people who wanted to drive along the through road? I'm guessing probably left and then going up through here and then going up all the way there, because that's kind of the straightest line through here. Although, not sure if that's the fastest, because you'd have to give way in all the, in these crossings. So maybe coming up here and then kind of going along here and then up this way around there. Although that is quite the long way if you could go straight otherwise. So I think probably this way, going straight up here along this side. So then it would make sense that a business like that, who want to attract as many customers as possible, so probably also customers who are passing through, it would make sense for it to be placed somewhere where they'd see it. So maybe if we flatten this a little bit, we could have it kind of around here maybe. I'll just maximize the sensitivity and just draw it in kind of like that. And make sure that it's on the ground. Also, I do need to put up the terrain a little bit more here where the road is, but I'll actually flatten it. So like that. And I do want it to be turned a bit this way, so that people who are coming up this way can read what the sign says. Well, if they can read it, since it's not that easy to read. But we can have a little parking lot over the side here. Golden shred, marmalade. Oh, and you can see that there are reflections of cars here. Huh. Okay. So let's see. Audio shop. No, that's the one. Oh, it's gone back because I switched. Has it? No, right, because this one doesn't have shop in the name. It's got store in the name. Obviously, it wouldn't be able to find it in the list if I'm filtering for shop. Let's see, blacksmith, no. Old West shop. Goods and clothing, a bit too old. Although it does have a slightly 3D interior. Basically, it's just a little billboard back here. Well, I mean, maybe I do kind of like the look of it, so maybe it would fit in well over here. I think it does. Maybe we could put it a bit closer to kind of have a difference of the architectural style in this area. So kind of like that. I think that looks good. Hey, maybe it lights up at night. That could be a thing. That the texture back here is unlit or something like that, so that at night it looks like the lights are on. Because some assets do have that, most of them don't. Let's see. No, that's much too modern. That looks a bit creepy. Well, for one thing, well, it's invisible from the inside, but on the little preview it looked a bit creepy. Let's see, these are all shop fronts, these all as well. And these are these are base shops. That's not what I'm looking for. These maybe. Snacks, drink, and cigarettes. Well, if it is the 50s or 60s, then cigarettes would definitely be a very common... Sorry. Then cigarettes would definitely be a very common thing. But I'm just trying to see if it fits with the style. I mean, maybe. I'll just leave it here for now. And this one, what's the difference? I can't see a difference, except for the name. I'm thinking it's probably a different version of the same asset. No. Well, maybe I will look through the list, because we've already gone more than halfway through. This one's very bright. Yeah, these are also very old assets. Some of these. I remember this asset being in, I think it was also 2004 or something like that, or maybe, well, maybe a bit later, maybe 2009 or something like that. But this is another thing. You can see that this also has a slightly 3D interior, where they've put a transparent texture for the window, so you can see the actual wall behind it. And I think, I don't know why, but I think that is a more common thing in older assets than in newer assets. For example, this one as well. You can see that it's a bit 3D back there. And, I mean, if you're up close, then it's obvious that it's just one texture back there. But if you're kind of going past in a train, kind of look over there, you don't really see it. But it is detail they've put into this asset. Newer assets don't really have that as much, I found. That's the one I've just placed down. This one is, it is a European asset, definitely. No. Yeah, I think I'll skip these ones. Another one that's 3D with a little British postbox. Wait, is it postbox or letterbox? No, letterbox. Postbox, I think it is called. Okay. Nope. Also, as a little teaser, if you've been following the tutorial series, the latest episode I've recorded actually features this place here, this area. Yes, because I needed a place that already had some track infrastructure in place, and I thought that might as well pick this route since it already looks quite good. Although for some reason I think it did turn out quite laggy when I moved the camera in the recording. The strange thing is that the Trainz itself didn't actually lag, not more than on stream anyways, and on stream it's quite smooth. If I move the camera over here, then move it back, I can see on stream that it is quite smooth. It's almost as smooth as it is for me. But for some reason, the recording software I used, which is, it's not OBS, it's a different one, because OBS doesn't like it when the resolution doesn't match the screen resolution. It puts a black bar around it. I used a different software, which is actually meant for recording, not necessarily for streaming. And yeah, in that it just looks so much more laggy. Luckily, there isn't that much movement in the video. But yes, if you're following the tutorial series and that one comes up, then you'll know that it was recorded roughly around the time that this stream was broadcast. Okay. No, I don't want shop rows. Where's that? Oh, it says shop village fish and chips. I thought it said shop villain fish and chips. No. Okay. We've almost reached the end of the list. No. Oops. Didn't mean to place 2. Nope. Oh, these ones maybe. Wood. Lion and Mouse Pet Shop. No. Yarboro's Liquor Store. I mean, it is America, so okay. Oh, Wonka chocolate. Sure, why not? Great 2 shops next to each other, right? Yeah. Scott Monsma's Books and Papers, sure. And I'm not placing these exactly how I want them because of I need to replace the road still. Mademoiselle Sarah's Barber Shop. Why not? It's very purple, as I'm sure you can see. Well, you can probably see. Let's see. Are there any more that I want? Shop fronts, shop center, no shopping center. I don't think that this is quite the right size for what I'm going for here. Got shop rows. Are these more? No, they're too large, too uniform for this kind of area. Oh, they've probably taken images from Google Images and then mapped them to this object. That's what I'd say. They probably did. Okay. Ah, yes. Well, Barbecue Shack over here. Then we've got Kit Kat Club. And then we've got the Rialto. Is that? Yes, it is. Rated G. And then PG. And there's the poster. Sure, why not? Now, should this be over on this side or more over on this side? I mean, it would make sense for it to be a bit more centralized, but then again, I'm not sure. From the style of building, I think would fit better over here. So I think I'm going to place it over here. It could be seen kind of as a step between these kind of a bit older buildings, maybe, and then these kind of newer structures, even though they look fairly similar. So, well, these look like they're made of wood, probably. But I think that looks really good. Oh, Samuel H. Hopper, photography. Knock knock. Who's there? Well, apparently nobody. So, yes. Oh, maybe that nobody's there because the surveyor's paused. The same thing with and by that I mean it's also paused the traffic and things like that. Dr. Walt Patterson, epidermic plastic surgeon. Tattoo removal, $50,000. Right next to the tattoo shop. I think that the author of this essay probably did this, put this joke in deliberately. You've got the Sludges or Sludge S tattoo shop, tattoo special, $50, and then the next day you realize that you didn't really want that tattoo. And then you can go right next door, and then you only need to pay 1,000 times. Well, no, not. Well, yes, 1,000 times more to get removed. So I think I'll actually place that down because it's a funny joke. Let's see. I originally wanted a little bit of a parking lot over here, but seeing as there's not that much space left, I think I'll put this in here, and then we might have the parking lots behind the buildings, and I actually flip these two around because this one also has a bit of a sidewalk built in, the same as these, so this kind of continues along there in a way. Yes, and we'll have the parking lot behind these buildings, which I actually do need to flatten a little bit because they are floating a little. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, one second. Because of the technical issues, I'll just quickly post on Discord that the stream is now live and fixed. Just in case someone was watching before and saw that things weren't working right and now isn't watching, maybe still is on Discord. 1 second, just need to log in. There we go. I'll be back in a second. That wasn't me waving goodbye, it was more me waving hello. Okay, so let's see. Trainz Discord, videos. There we go. Oh, that is really laggy. And the stream is fixed. And I'll actually copy the link from above. I'll be with you 1 second. There we go. And I'll actually post this on my Discord server as well for notifications in case anybody's online there. And let's see. And I'm back. Actually, no, that's the wrong thing. That's a coding tutorial. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Yes, it worked. Yeah, I'm always double checking now just to make sure that things work. Bread, pies and pasties, cakes. O'Connor building. I mean, it looks okay. And I do like the little decoration along here. But I'm not really sure where I'd place it. Maybe if we put these buildings together, made a little more room over here. Maybe like that. Well, maybe we can move these just a little bit further over this way, because I did like the look of being able to walk between here. Although it is, no, you can't really do that anymore. I think it's fine like this. Let's see, something like that. And I'll save. Okay. I think that this shopping front looks quite good. I'm not sure how American it looks though. At the moment it's kind of reminding me of a seaside town in England. Well, I'll leave it as is at the moment. Actually, no, I wanted that there. I thought it was still the one from before that I placed down there. Well, technically it is, but I think... Has it happened again? I think it has. I think what's causing Trainz to freeze when loading is legitimately... well, actually, it might be... I've got an idea. Because usually, if you if you make changes, and well, if you don't, well, okay, if you save, then you don't make any changes and just try to save again, it just doesn't save. Yeah, just does nothing. But what I've just done now is I saved, then I changed something, and then I hit undo. So maybe the reason why it's frozen here is that it thinks that there's something to save because the flag of nothing's been changed was put down. So it thinks something has been changed, but it doesn't find any changes because I undid it. That might actually be what's going on here. But I don't want to spend a lot of time waiting here, so I'm going to force quit it again. So, how are you, people without accounts or who are watching this archived? Having a nice day? Have you had a nice walk, maybe, this evening or morning, wherever you are? It's quite a warm night here. It's probably very nice taking a walk out there. And there we go, Trainz starting. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Why one of the reasons why I don't use OBS to record the tutorials, which is that the if the resolution is a bit lower than the actual screen resolution, then OBS just puts a black border around it. But and a thing that I do want to quickly look at is what the mouse position is. Does it still have the right mouse pointer position? Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't actually show the mouse. Oh, it does. It didn't before, I think. Or maybe I just missed it. So if I put the mouse all the way in the bottom right corner, where does it move? Oh, it actually moves over to the corner if I move it up to the top. One second. Oh, it actually moves correctly. Sorry, oh, hello, new viewer, whoever you are. I'm just starting Trainz up again after a little crash. Right, the thing with the mouse is important because if you've noticed in the tutorial, oh, and in case you're wondering what 01 Fun Run is doing here, the session, that's to do with the tutorial. I'll revert the changes here. Yes, the thing with the mouse pointer is because if you've watched some of the Trainz tutorials on my YouTube channel, then you'll probably have noticed that there is never a mouse pointer there. Either I describe where a thing is located vocally, or I put a little red highlight over it. And that's because the program that I'm using to record the tutorials, while it does record the mouse pointer, it records the mouse pointer on a separate layer, I think. Yes, it must have, because I can because the thing is, I record the tutorials in a lower resolution so that it doesn't lag as much. And I'll actually get started placing down the normal residential buildings there, because I think we've got enough shops here for now. Yes, I record the tutorials at a lower resolution because, well, for two reasons. One is that the Trainz' user interface is larger on there, so it's easier to read, especially if you're watching on a smaller screen. The second reason is that, well, it's better for performance. And if I'm recording and I'm... Yes, I'll use this one. If I'm recording and I'm playing Trainz at the same time, then performance is definitely an issue. For some reason, when I'm streaming, the performance is much, much better than when I'm recording with the other program. But now, yes, right. The thing is that I changed the resolution, but the program I'm using doesn't change the mouse pointer's position with it. So if I'm recording, I've got the mouse pointer in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, then the mouse pointer in the recording will actually show up to be around here. Yeah? So when I click on a button over here, like that, for example, then it shows me clicking over here. So it's just the mouse pointer is offset by a certain amount. It's fine in the top left corner, but it's like it doesn't realize that it has to scale the mouse pointer's position. So I'm left with two options. Either I can leave it in as is, which would be very, very confusing for people, yeah, or I could turn off the mouse pointer, since the program is recording the mouse pointer on a separate layer, I can actually do that, which is what I've done so far. But now that I know that OBS does actually put the mouse pointer in the right position, then maybe I could record the tutorials, the future tutorials, with OBS. Oh, I've not searched for house, I've just realized. Maybe I could record them with OBS, and then just stretch the image, or well, crop it, I mean, so that the black border isn't shown, because then I'd have the mouse pointer on it. Although then I'd need to record at the actual screen resolution, because otherwise I'd waste the resolution if I'm recording at a lower resolution and then essentially scaling it up from there. That model is surprisingly detailed for Trainz. It's called Amy Winehouse standing. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need the Australian houses at the moment. Yes, so I might do that later. I need to do some testing first, because I don't want I don't know about OBS's compression compared to the program I was using before. Also, file size is another one, which obviously depends on the settings I put in. But yeah, I'll need to do some testing first. But if there... Also, I have been in touch with the creators of the recording program I'm using at the moment, for the tutorials, I mean. And maybe they'll fix the cursor thing. But if they don't, and the tests are good, the OBS tests, then I might use OBS for the recordings. So if a mouse pointer suddenly starts showing up in the tutorials, then that's maybe what's happened. Right, what am I talking about? I don't know, I feel like I'm just talking about nothing at the moment. So, okay, here's the thing. Chat, you pick a topic to talk about. And there are no users in chat with accounts. So, you can't talk. Yes. I guess that could also be seen as talking about the topic of silence. Could be interesting. But probably not very related to train things. Also, this is a bit of a difficult area. And yeah, this is what I was talking about, that houses need to be placed flat. So I need to put this one up because the other one's up, but the road is coming downhill. So you can see the grass starting to cover the road because I'm moving this object up enough. And now, it's too far up, but if I move this down, then the other one's too far down. So what I'll usually do is I'll just move these objects a bit further into the ground, and if I want to make a driveway, I'll put it in manually with splines. That looks okay. Okay. Let's see. And I'll actually just go ahead and flatten this area right now, just because I'll need to flatten it anyways when I'm placing buildings here. Place this a little bit further down, something like that. And I don't need to be exact with the height because the player's not going to see it up close if the tracks are down here. But I do want it to look as close as is feasible. And I'm saying feasible because technically I could go into Blender and make the house models each individually, so that each building in this town sorry, just my throat, 1 second. Much better. Right, I could technically go into Blender and make each house uniquely for this, for where it is, so that the houses never duplicate, so that each house is... Oh, how much experience do you have in Trainz? You seem to know all the key shortcuts. Yes, Slovak Eagle. Is that right? Slovak Eagle, I think that's right. That's odd, it doesn't show you as a user in chat. I'll quickly reload the page. To answer your question, I've been playing Trainz since, I think, 2008, I believe. Something around there. Oh, right, I reloaded the page and now it works. Hello, Commander Root and LurksX. And I already said hello to you, Slovak Eagle. Welcome back to the stream. I thought nobody was here because the list was empty. Turns out it just didn't work properly. Yes, right, so I've been... yeah, I've been playing for many years. Yeah. Right, what I was saying before, I could make all the models in Trainz manually, but I don't actually know how to get models from... right, in Blender, manually for Trainz. I don't actually know how to get models from Blender into Trainz, because all of the documentation I found uses... well, the older documentation I found uses some features of the content manager that I don't think are in the Mac version, although maybe those are for older Trainz versions. Actually, it would make more sense if this was rotated like that, so that the driveway actually connects to the road. And by the way, so I haven't seen your name in chat before, so if you're a new viewer, I'm actually going to do a quick fly down the route. So just to kind of showcase what we've done so far. So this little area here is the asset palette, which is the area I made off stream, just this one baseboard, just to kind of get a feel for what this route is going to look like, what assets I'm going to use to get the forest textures down and the tracks and things like that. Then we made it come up here, across this dry riverbed, then split up over here, and then start to climb up this valley. This goes all the way along through this cutting over there, and then it comes up to the sidings, which are called horror point sidings, which is because of something, well, a large tangent I went on when making this. If you're interested, the streams are archived. I think that was in the 3rd stream, I think, maybe an hour or so in, if you're interested in the lore behind that. Anyway, it continues up here and goes through this cutting. We've actually put the dirt track that goes to the sidings back there, go over on top of the tracks, which I know isn't necessarily necessary in this area, but it's an interesting landmark. Yes, and then it just continues over here, past some locomotives we've got here temporarily, and then it comes over here, over these bridges, and then it comes over here into this town, which actually doesn't have a name yet. Maybe, I mean, I want to wait with the name until I've got more of it finished, so that I've got more of a feel for the route, sorry, for the town before. Oh, 2008? Oh, nice. I myself have been in the game since 2006. As for Twitch showing users, it updates after several minutes. Blender is useful to make things, yeah, but 3D Max is really the good tool. I might be able to ask my British friend if he would be willing to help you with Blender, as he did make a few things. Oh, well, thank you. I do know how to use Blender. I've been using Blender, I think, since 2012, around that area. I've been using it a lot for my own games, because I also make my own indie games, one of which will be coming to Steam soon. But I do know how to use Blender. I just am unclear about how to get the things from Blender into Trainz. Yes, and that's the thing that I've been finding trouble. Well, yes, that's the thing. I've been finding trouble about how to find information. I've been finding difficult about how to find. Wait, let me start that sentence again. That is the thing I've been finding difficult about getting things from Trainz, well, from Blender to Trainz. I know I messed the sentence up even though I started again, but doesn't matter, probably. Anyway. Yeah, with the creation of the CDP file for the game, that British friend of mine did have to figure out things by himself, as there aren't really any tutorials. Well, I mean, if he knows, if he's figured out some things about how to do that, then I would definitely appreciate any insight into that. Does your British friend, does he have, is he on Discord? Yes, he is. I will let you know on Discord if he accepts or not. He is a very busy man. Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if he did. Yes, on Discord it's just Sharadice. Well, yes, thanks. Anyway, right, now how does that look? Are these houses right for this kind of town? Kind of here. If we imagine these houses all throughout going up this hill, then maybe. I think they'll look good. I'll just continue placing these, and I do have to place these individually, because normally when I make a town, I usually put in single buildings close to the tracks, and then as I get further away, I either put in splines slightly obscured by trees, or I put in I sort of copy paste some blocks of buildings. But in this area, since it's on a slope, the player can clearly see the buildings going up, so they're not going to be obscured. So I can't really do that here. Also, after I finished putting down the... Actually, I won't put one there. So after I finished putting down the buildings here, so I might just put one more over here. I am actually going to replace the roads, because it is just a lot more effort and time that I need to put in if I need to move all the buildings after after replacing the road. So let's see what building would look good there. Because I did put some down here, as I said previously. I think well, this one might look good. Right, I wanted to place it over here. Wrong way. Okay, so just sort of like that. Now, I know that there is the bulk asset replace feature, where I could just replace all the roads here in this area. So I could span open a selection and then do that, but this town is actually on a 45-degree angle, and you can't replace. As for the route, I like the design and ideas. I find the merge of dirt road and track really unique and interesting. Too bad it doesn't really fit on European route. Well, first of all, thanks. Yeah. Well, I mean, it might fit on a European route. Maybe an Alpine route or something like that, where the track is going up this very steep slope, and then maybe set back a bit, like in the steam era, maybe 1920s-ish. You could have that, an area where there's a big cutting and the road kind of merges onto the track. But you're right, it is more of an American thing in general. And thanks for the compliment again. So, right, replacing the road. Right, I'm going to go to the Yarnish. And also, in case you're wondering why I have got traffic turned off, I'm just going to quickly show you this. Let's see, where is it? Edit route. Right. For the other people who are watching, who already know this, you know what's coming. Right, I'm going to select United States. And I'm just going to, well, actually, I'm going to place down a building, and then I'm going to save, just so that there are a few more cars around, just to make the impact, as it were, a bit larger. First, I'm going to place down a little bit of road, just so that it likely doesn't crash. Oh, well, it does like this. So you can see here. Oh yeah, you're right. Alps would really fit. Maybe more narrow gauge route to fit Switzerland. I should make a move on my route already. Yeah, well, I'm planning on making an Alpine route soon. I've collected some, I've picked out some assets already. It's going to be standard gauge, but it's going to have a very interesting twist with layers. I'm not giving any more spoilers on that, but yes, I think a narrow gauge route would really fit with that as well. So you can see the cars here, and you might notice something interesting about them. I don't know how obvious it is, but in case you haven't noticed, these cars, they aren't moving. And if you listen, they'll toot their horns as though they're stuck like that. As though they're stuck at a level crossing that's down, even though they're just by the crossing. Yes, that bug. Like two really overly, in this case here, I know what's going on exactly in this case. These two people are really very overly polite, and they both want to go down here, and this one's like, oh no, good sir, you go first. And this one's like, oh no, I couldn't possibly go first, you go first, you've got the right of way, and then it just goes on. But they're secretly getting annoyed at each other, that's why they're beeping their horns. Yeah, but that bug, yes, so I did get in touch with Trainz support because of that, and they said that it's a known issue, and they hope that it will be fixed with the next service pack, or service patch. I think it's service pack. But yeah, they couldn't tell me when, so who knows how long it'll take. And I'll replace the crossings a bit later. It happens only if you have Trainz Plus or membership subscription. Not sure about Mac. I myself don't have to worry about this as I have the standard edition. Well, I have the standard edition as well. This is just the normal Trainz TRS-19. Because, yeah, if I have to go into, if I want to drive around, I have to go into Quick Drive. So I have the standard edition, but I think they said that the Surveyor is essentially paused. Maybe because of some leftover code from Trainz Plus that made it over into the normal Trainz version accidentally. But yeah, it doesn't seem like the sort of thing that would be difficult to fix if it's just some leftover code, which it probably is, since in driver it works fine. Because, yeah, I think that they just don't want to put out a lot of small bug fix releases. I think they prefer to pile up the fixes and then release it in a service pack. Is it service pack? I think it's service pack. Yeah. Standard? Really? Okay, that's weird. Yes, I know it is. Yeah, so yeah. It is really weird. I mean, I went onto the forums, and one guy had the same issue, and he said, well, he got a reply of a person saying that it sounds like some leftover code from Trainz Plus, where they have the merged driver surveyor thing, where you have an option to pause or unpause the surveyor, where if it's paused, traffic doesn't move and animations don't really run. Sorry, most animations don't really run, and that the surveyor is accidentally always paused, and that's what's causing issues. But yeah, you're right, it is really weird. But then again, sorry, then again, Trainz has always been weird. For example, when Trainz A New Era first came out, I got the Mac version, I think from the Mac App Store. Yeah, I opened it up, started to make a route, and I wanted to put a plateau up. So I want to put a plateau up, say, 10 meters. So usually what you do is, as you know, you'd type in 10 meters here, and then you'd paint the plateau, which in this case is very far below the ground. But I couldn't type in numbers. I typed in a number, but as soon as I pressed enter or I clicked outside, it reset the number to 0. I literally couldn't type in any numbers anywhere until they released Service Pack 1 or 2, where it was fixed. Yeah, they were usually publishing hotfix as well in between the service packs. After I asked them on the Discord server, they said it's better to have small file size of updates rather than bigger, to which most of us disagree, and from then on they have been only publishing service packs. Yeah, that's interesting. Because I get why it is nicer to have service packs where there's one update and it fixes the whole thing, whole bunch of things. But on the other hand, in situations like this, it would be really nice if it's a simple thing to do. Just if I tell them about the bug, it's one thing to do, and then the next morning there's a little update which just fixes the bug and it's gone immediately. I don't have to wait. It's obviously would be better in that situation. But I do get what you mean. So a big update once in a while rather than a bunch of smaller updates a lot. What's that? Once in a while. Yeah, it made a lot of confusion in the game and multiplayer connectivity. I see, yes. That does make sense. Yeah, I had forgotten about multiplayer. Although whenever I make a route, I do always include a multiplayer session, which is essentially a quick drive thing where I've got I've just put down a whole bunch of locomotives and wagons and just put in the multiplayer rule because I do like playing multiplayer, but unfortunately, as you know, with multiplayer, the session and the route have to be uploaded, they have to be available on the DLS for it to work, which means that I can't test it. So I would have to release a beta version of the route and a beta version of the session, but then if I want to make a route payware, which because routes take a very long time to do, I have started developing routes with a mindset of them being payware. For example, this route, if it's good enough, I will make it available as payware. Oh, I've missed an intersection here. And I'll just put down the one I was using before because I don't want to find the one from before. Well, I don't want to find the one that's right for this road because I want to finish replacing the roads. But yeah, I don't really want to release the route beforehand and then people download it and then because we always had to ask each other, which build do you have? And it was so annoying when 10 of us wanted to play and we had like 5 different build versions of the game. Yeah, I do get that. I can see why it's better to release them in service packs. Although I guess maybe the best solution would be if different build versions were compatible with each other, so that if you maybe have Trainz TRS 19 version 1.5 and then you have TRS version 1.5.1 or 1.5.25 or things like that, and if they're only very small little things that don't really impact the most of the game, so for example multiplayer that doesn't impact multiplayer, for example the bug fix with the road, if it's an issue that's affecting surveyor, then unless you've got the multiplayer surveyor, it probably wouldn't affect the driver or multiplayer. So if Trainz was the framework of Trainz was, sorry, I accidentally brushed up against the microphone. But if the framework of Trainz was built up in such a way that it would recognize that these little updates, these little builds, are essentially still the same thing, that they would still fit together and work together. But I guess Trainz just isn't built to work that way. Okay, now I want to find the correct intersection. This one, let's see, I want to, this one doesn't have the attachment point on this side. I think this one's a bit of an older asset. Does this one have? No, it doesn't. Also, that's an interesting question I've just come up with, because occasionally I do look at different routes for multiplayer, but I can't. I'm having I had a lot of trouble finding routes. For the last 2 years, I've been working on Central Europe. Maybe you heard of it, maybe not. 7 countries total, 3 semi-finished now. Oh really? I've been developing a multiplayer session creator. Wait, sorry, I thought that was a penny at the last message. I'll read the whole one. Sorry. I've been developing a multiplayer session creator for the game since Tain. For the past 2 years, I've been working on Central Europe. Wait, you've been developing a multiplayer session creator? So do you mean that you've actually been working on the Trainz as a developer? So you've been working on the multiplayer session creator, or you're a multiplayer session creator? Right, that makes more sense. I thought that you probably meant that, but I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to misread that. Yes, I haven't heard of that. One second, I'll write that down, because multiplayer routes, routes that have multiplayer sessions aren't easy to find, and quite a lot of them have missing assets that aren't available on the download station, or maybe aren't available anymore. Let's see, it's called sorry for that miss of mine. English is not my first language. Don't worry about that. Yeah, English isn't my first language either. Let's see. How should... Oh, right, because... I'll just delete this here quickly, because on this intersection I did actually place down some invisible road to... because I wanted to see if the road traffic merges in properly or goes over an intersection when it's actually a bit of road going across, which it did. Let's see why... Oh, there it goes. Yeah, and I didn't replace it. For the last few months, we have been pushing on N3V to make it possible for Standard, Platinum, Trainz Plus, and others be able to play with each other. They did it for a time around winter 2019, but then Service Pack 1 came out and it broke again. Yes, I know. With Trainz for Mac 2, which is basically Trainz 2012, multiplayer didn't work. Actually, for the one before that as well, for Trainz for Mac, I think that one was supposed to have multiplayer as well, and we tried it for a long time, but it never loaded into a multiplayer session. We got in touch with support, there was a lot of back and forth, and eventually it had the outcome that it never worked. With Trainz for Mac 2, which is the one, which is, I think, Trainz 12, it didn't work in the beginning as well, and then it had huge loading times, at least for Mac. It had huge loading times when loading into a multiplayer session. It would take upwards of a quarter of an hour to load into the session, and then I think they fixed it there sometimes. In Tane, it did finally work. But yeah, I think that... I don't know if Windows users had these issues as well. But I think that if they did, at least for the Mac users, that those issues would definitely put a lot of people off of multiplayer in Trainz, I think. But getting back to Central Europe, one second. In case you're wondering, I am part of Trainz.de. Some assets of ours have mark NBS Plus or NBS Plus in name. Other than that, we are a group of VIP voice Discord. That's interesting. I'll actually put that down next to it. So getting back to Central Europe, is there a build of that available on the DLS? Central Europe is built in and DLS only, no payware assets. Yeah, that's great. But is there actually I'll look it up quickly now. Yeah, because whenever I make a route, I always make sure not to include payware assets. I always make sure not to include payware assets because when people download the route, I want them to be able to play it. However, if you do get any unknown or faulty assets, please let me know ASAP so I can fix it. Yes, will do. So you said... Wait, so I can let you know on Discord? Are you... I'm not sure how to get in touch with you, because that, or is it through Trainz.de? Basically, how would I get in touch with you? Send you a DM on Discord. Great. I'll accept that after the stream. Thanks for that. I'll just want to see Central. That's right. Oh, and there they are. I'm actually really excited to have a look at those now. Hey, thanks for letting me know about those. Right. Okay. Actually, something something I've done to make it easier not to accidentally include payware assets, because is I've made a search filter. I've made a search filter which is no payware. So basically I've just added a filter of payware false, and then I've saved it as no payware. So whenever I load into the surveyor, I can just put on that filter and just forget about it, so I don't accidentally put down any payware assets. I will quickly add that little bit there, just so that I can... that little bit of road, so that I can attach it more easily. Or actually, is this a bit larger? Ah, right, I attached it to the wrong one. That's why that happened. Okay, so we've got the intersections down here in place. So now just these couple to go. Well, I say couple, a couple is technically two, but these few to go. It just doesn't have the same ring to it. Okay. Also, if you're interested, I didn't mean to attach that. I do have a few older routes on the download station as well. The most recent one is, well, it was built in, I think, 2016, something like that. I just uploaded it maybe a month or a couple months ago. It's the Beetlebrook Railroad. It's not as realistic as this is. I went on a whole tangent last stream about that. There are some unrealistic things in the scenery. For example, it's suddenly becoming mountainous, or skyscrapers in the forest because I didn't want to go to the trouble of making suburbs, or corners too sharp, or things like that. But it does have some nice scenery in it. And it does also have a multiplayer session where I've put down some assets. Just to let you know, just in case you wanted to have a look. Okay, so now this intersection here, I'll make it have the sidewalk as well. Just because it looks better if the sidewalk's continuing along here and then going down, without rather than the whole intersection not have any sidewalk. Okay. And I'll just need to reapply the height to some of these roads. Yeah, this is just a little bit too steep for this area. I think what I'll do is I'll lower this down just a little bit, just so that we don't get the terrain poking through. And then we can lower this down as well. Oh wait, what happened here? Is that... Oh, right. This happened to me last time as well. I moved it down to get sort of the right height, but then I tried to apply the height to it, so obviously the terrain went down, and then the object went down with the terrain, so it was below the terrain again. Kind of a vicious cycle. I'll just quickly add a bit more cliff here. Oh, and for any new viewers, if you're interested, these streams are going to be archived. Yeah, they are going to be archived on our YouTube channel. Oh, I will have a look for sure. Thanks. We have been, thanks for the follow, by the way. We have been looking for a good American route to use for our 24/7 multiplayer server. Well, it's probably a bit small for that. Trainz has the ability to host 2 servers open 24/7. It isn't expensive, but we have enough people donating to keep it alive. However, with the current state of multiplayer, it is not worth keeping up. Yeah, I mean, I can actually tell you what I'll do. I'll quickly give you a little preview of the route so that you don't have to go to the trouble of downloading it, and then yeah, because it might not be what you're looking for if you want to have it up for 24/7, because it's not that large. This will only take a couple of minutes. So if you're here for the route building, it will resume. This is not a massive tangent like last time. It will resume shortly. Okay. Where is it? Beetlebrook Railroad. I'll just go edit route. Yeah, it takes a little while to load if it's not loaded the route in a while. Probably because I've got a fusion drive, but it's not in that. Yeah, not really much to talk about while it's loading. Well, the multiplayer hasn't been getting a lot of players in the last months anyways. The most we've had was 13 players on Kickstarter County and Tane. Yeah, I think that it's just that multiplayer needs a bit more of a kick to get it started. Like maybe if there was a thing on YouTube where you had maybe once or twice a month, you'd have a live stream, like a multiplayer live stream where you'd invite the audience to play with you. And then if you have a large enough following, then that could kind of kickstart it. So then, well, yeah, kickstart it, yes. Because it is really good, although I did get some issues with ghost trains when I last played. So I'll just quickly go along this map. So this is it, by the way, just to give you a bit of a feeling for if this is what you're looking for. So it starts over here, just a passenger station, goes along here. You've got some docks where you can unload coal, and you can unload some, either unload or load, I'm not sure, some general goods and containers. Yeah, then the main line goes up here. And I didn't, when I made this a couple of years ago, I didn't really understand traffic mathematics. So, for example, here, the 2-track main line goes into a 4-track main line, and then continues along here. I just made it because I thought it looked good in this area. Yeah, but then, well, then it continues along, goes along here. Yeah, just carries on, and then it gets to here where it branches off to this oil refinery here, where you can drop off crude oil and pick up diesel fuel and things. There's also a place to unload general goods here. Yeah, but getting back to this, the 4-lane thing carries on here, and then it goes down to 2 lanes without any of the supposedly heavy traffic that would warrant a 4-lane, a 4-track main line to go anywhere. But if you can look beyond that, there is some nice scenery. So yes, here is a little grain silo where you can pick up grain, obviously. That carries along here, over into the mountains. And this is a very abrupt start here, which is one of the things that I did. Because back then, I didn't really plan out the route as much. So I was kind of building, I'm kind of building an area, and then I think, oh, it'd be nice if there was a bit mountainous here, or if there were more fields, and then I just go as I wanted. So yeah, it continues up here through the mountains, and there are a few quite sharp curves here. Some areas. Yeah, there's this big horseshoe curve looking thing here. Oh, live stream and videos. Mix in with the reactivation of the 24/7 server. That would be quite a kick, but not many people are interested in European route, and having a good American route would help a lot. Your route has a lot of potential, but I can already tell that the route would need a little fixing here and there. The route itself looks quite nice, but you can see the age on it. Yes, I feel exactly the same way. I mean, there are some aspects of it that I really like. For example, here, I've got this little station here, and I've, for example, the way the mountain looks in the distance, with a little lake down there and the little dirt track going down here. I like these like snapshots of it, but then again, you've got things like this being filled up all the way to the track here, and it going over there, and there not really being a town here or any reason why these houses would be here. Yeah, you're right. It does need a bit of a fix-up for that kind of thing. It reminds me of Mojave a lot, a really lot. I always loved that. Oh right, because there's also the Trainz route is that. Yeah, thanks. Right, this is the place I was talking about before. All right, so this is very indicative of my building style from years ago. So you're going in through the woods, right? You're in the woods in the wilderness, and then bam, multi-story downtown city area that warrants such a huge station. And by the way, there is a general goods unloading platform here as well. And then there's just a couple blocks down the road, forest again. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just quickly go over the rest of the route. It'll just take a few minutes. Right, so it carries along here. And I did also put in a lot of these little scenes. Like, for example, where is it? Over here. Like, for example, this little petrol station of this truck being loaded here, and maybe something's broken, and this guy is talking to this guy about how much it costs to fix it, or things like that. Oh yeah, I see. Suddenly, city feels like ex-communist countries, 13-story buildings at the edge of cities. Right, that is what it reminded me of as well, because I couldn't place my finger on it, but now that you say it, it does make a lot of sense. And here is a little yard, but again, I didn't really understand the concept that you need a yard lead, so it's just the main line going into it, so it would block up the main line. Back here you've got a little yard where you've got another coal unloading station for the power plant, and here you can actually unload the grain that you can pick up from the grain silo, and there's a little goods unloading platform here as well. You've got a loop back there. And one second. Here you can load up on diesel fuel, even though most locomotives don't need that. And here it suddenly becomes single track, even though most of the traffic would actually continue along here. And this is kind of my favorite part of the route, sort of this area, because this is actually the part I built first. Just kind of the single track area, just kind of this more rural area where the little road goes beside it, where yard lead, I'm still having problems with that today. Actually, I made a tutorial about yards where I go into some detail on the different areas of yards. It's not uploaded yet, but it will be uploaded soon. Might be worth checking out if you're interested in new information with that. Anyway, so if maybe this area sees maybe 1 or 2 trains a day, this kind of thing. You've got passing tracks here, then it continues along. Continues up here. I really also like this area, just the kind of feel of it, the very vibrant colors with the JVC trees. Unfortunately, the JVC trees don't really work well with TRS-19 anymore because they're 2D assets and they kind of look black on one side. Anyway, yes, carries along here. You've got the little police car parked here. Then it continues along here. And then here to the right, it splits off, goes along here to the coal mine over here. I really like the look of this place, but if you look at it closer, you'll notice that it's not really very well made, because, for example, just look at how sharp these junctions are. I mean, only a speeder would make it across this sharp angle here. Well, I may have built 10 cities in Central Europe already, but yard lead is always something I forget. You will see that a lot in the Slovak Republic part of the route. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, so this isn't very realistic, and by the time I noticed it, I didn't want to rebuild this entire area, so I just left it as is. So, I mean, locomotives and trains will still make it around there. It's just not very realistic that they do. Yeah, and then it continues on here, and I've got this little track. Actually, it continues on in the other area, sorry. So yeah, I've got this coal mine area here, but you can see there's a little junction here. So this goes over along here to this little town, which is supposed to continue off in this area as well, but it didn't make that there, which is sort of the town where the workers for the coal mine live. You've also got a little goods unloading thing here. Sorry. And I do put these goods unloading platforms by all of the towns, just because I really want some freight traffic to go to the towns as well. I see the sharp turns. Also, I don't like rebuilding the things I've finished. You will actually see that on Central Europe too. It progressively gets better and better in quality. Yes, that's really the case with any work that you're doing that carries on along a long piece of time. The same if you're writing a story. You can, if you read a story that took maybe a couple of years to write, you can see the difference in the quality and style of the writing, probably, if it's from a new writer. Anyway, also another thing is, I used kilometers an hour speed signs here, because back then I didn't know that in America they were using miles an hour. So when I watched videos and I heard them saying things like, the speed limit's 40 here, then I thought, oh, it's 40, so I just picked a speed sign that said 40, but I put it in kilometers an hour, which means that the speed limits are actually much too slow on this route. Yeah, anyway, I've got this little track here just so that signals would work with shunting if a train comes across, but anyway, it goes along here, then it crosses the river, back here, and then over here, it joins up with the main line again. And actually, this is where the main line is. If you look at the map, it's kind of this little loop that goes back there. And yeah, so the main line continues along here, and then also crosses the river. It goes along here, and then this is where the line joins back up from back there where we just were. And then it continues up here through this kind of little gorge thing, which I also really like the look of. I mean, if this scene was put in a more realistic route, like the kind of route that I would make now, then it would be so good, but at the moment it's kind of in this route stuck here. Anyway, it continues up along here, and then it suddenly becomes double track, the main line, even though there's no reason why. Anyway, it continues, and here you've got oil fields, which is where you can load the oil from, that you unload at the refinery down behind the mountains. Yeah, it is really visible how you improve over time. New techniques and skills over time. KPH or miles, MPH happens sometimes, no need to worry. Yeah, I'm not really worried about it, it's just that when I found that out, it was a bit annoying. Anyway, yes, so this is where, because I built the route going from down here up the hill, so when I got to this area, I was kind of bored of that environment a bit, so I wanted it to open up more, so fields. And I didn't really do much research on how the agricultural area in USA really looks like. I just imagined like sort of Texas, really flat fields. But I put in hedges everywhere, which is more of a European thing. Anyway, so it goes along here. Although I did put grain silos in. And I also put a little town in back here, which is actually just this spline. Anyway, yes, so it carries along here. And then here I put in another gas station. And this sort of scene I still really like. With the truck stopped here. And you've got the motel sign blinking. And you can just imagine a truck driver coming in here and then getting woken up in the morning by a train that's tooting its way past here. Oh, I also like routes that have industries. I honestly prefer bad route with industries over good route without industries. I see you used all the different default industries. That is enough for me to get it. Oh, well, thanks. Yes, I agree too, because it just... having industries on the route makes... Well, for one thing, it makes the trains more interesting, because then you've got all sorts of different wagon or car types. And yes, this is where you... This is also another place where you can load grain. Yeah. So then it continues on. And this is where the city starts. And I actually made the city after the previous one. So here you can see that I started with sort of a bit lower buildings and sort of fields. And you do sometimes get this sort of merger. It is still a bit... harsh though. Anyway, so you continue along here, and this is where the route ends. So you've got this yard here with a passenger station there, and you've got the container loading or unloading thing. I'm not sure which one. Yes, and then you've got a big roundhouse here for all of the locomotives that you want to place, and there's also a little yard lead, which is actually one of the first ones I put in. So this is just one that goes back there. Also, another little thing, which another little mistake is that I put in these buffers because I didn't know about the different coupling systems. I didn't really pay that much attention back then. So I should have put in the bumpers for the knuckle couplers, but hey, that's how it is at the moment. Yes, and that's the Beetlebrook line, or railroad, I should say. So there it is in its entirety. But I do have to agree that scenery looks really good. Is it weird that... It is a weird mix of Europe and America. I don't know why, but I like this route of yours. Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, I really like it as well. Yeah, I just wish that it was that little extra bit more realistic. But anyway, we've just got a couple minutes left to do just a little bit more route building, because I did say we would. So I don't want to not deliver on that. Okay. I did open it up, right? Ah, it was still open apparently. So let's just quickly start that. Of course. Gotta keep on track. Yes. Okay. I mean, we wouldn't want to get sidetracked, would we? Okay. Milton Valley Railroad edit session. I mean, we've got 5 more minutes left. You can do a lot in 5 minutes. Alright, I did replace all the intersections, so that's good. Oh, and it is lagging a bit more now for some reason. Maybe it's just not done loading the things yet, the assets. Okay, oops, on the session layer. And the reason why I do always load in the default session and edit that is so that, well, for a couple of reasons. One, that some signals, the information you save in the signals is saved in the session. So if you put it in the root, then that information is gone. For example, with some of the American signals, if you put in the straight track across junctions. Oh, speaking of signals, if you're making a European route, are you using feather signals or theater signals? Because if you are, or if you don't know how to use them, I did make a tutorial going over specifically that. Well, in that tutorial I went over British signals, but maybe the same applies to other country signals as well, I'm not sure. Might be worth having a look at if you're doing that sort of thing. Let's see. Yeah, this is always the difficult part about making a town that's on an incline, is that you get floating buildings. Anyway, I think I'll leave this for now because it's not that visible from the tracks. No, that's just the same one, just only flipped. Oh, I need to put on my no payware filter. I know that these assets aren't payware, but I like to put it on just in case. Also, if you're looking for a more realistic American route, okay, well, I did place down some buildings, so that's ticked off the list. I will now just do a short little showcase on another route, which will be released soon. It's not released yet, but it will be released soon. It's called the Coal Mint Mountains Railway. Here are some of the sessions that I've made for it. So it's actually a seasonal route. I'll quickly load into one of the sessions. Oh, depends on country. Britain and France are the only two countries I know which use feathers and theatres. However, the countries we are making do not use those, but we are making sure each country is represented accurately when it comes to signals and science stations, crossing and scenery. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. I mean, now that I know more about the intricacies of different railway systems across the world, some of them across the world, I do also put in a more detail in making it accurate. Here we go. So this is also an American route. This one is much more realistic than the one I previously showed. It's also much newer. I think I made it last year, I think, maybe the year before. It is a seasonal route, although which does mean that it uses the TB2D assets, but they work fairly well in TRS-19. So this is the entirety of the route. It's basically coal mines. You've got a coal mine up here, then you've got a coal mine down here, and you've got one here. And then there is a small town over here by this big lake. There's one down here, also one over there. And then you've got this long stretch of straight main line going down to the docks where the coal gets unloaded. So here, I've actually put down this rotary coal tipple, which actually works. It actually works. So that's a good thing. I'll just quickly show you one little area. So I'll just show you Gem Creek. So this is Gem Creek. It's just a little town going off into this little creek. It's not loaded in properly now. But yes, you've got a little station here with the main line running across it. And then it kind of splits off and goes into the mountains. Oh, right, it switched back because the AI train coupled. Sorry about that. Oh, it switched back again because it changed the camera. Right, this is actually a session for it. So, also it's electrified. Yes. It's a fictional route, as you might have guessed. It uses mainly PRR and New Haven locomotives, which I have not repainted, but they are in-universe supposed to be part of this new railroad. And in this is a very iconic area for this route. You've got this track going down here, and then you've got this railroad crossing up above here, which it gets very narrow back here. And the thing is that it actually makes sense for it to be up this high, and it's all kind of interconnected and looping across. Yeah, I really like this route. So yeah, it's not released yet, but it will be released soon. Oh, we are also trying to represent the different catenary systems in each country. We have 5 people working on the route, including me, and 7 countries to build. Wow, 7 countries. 24 kilovolts AC, right. Right. It sounds like a lot of work, but it does sound like it's worth it when it's finished. I'm really excited to have a look at that. And we've just run over the time limit for the stream. So I'll actually close Trainz, go back to this scene. Oh, that's stretched. Huh, that's not supposed to be stretched like that. There we go. So, I like this route you just shown. I love electric trains, and I like this route of yours. Thank you very much. Yeah, it took a lot of time to make. Anyway, yes. So that is the end of the stream. I hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun, and thank you for actually writing in chat. It makes it so much more interesting if there's actually two-way interaction. So with that, I'm just quickly going to mention this stream is going to be archived on our YouTube channel, and I hope to see you again next stream. So, bye!